Hey everybody, it's Mr. Forster again. So, wow, week 5. So week 5 is going to be a little bit more robust than week 4. Remember I said it was split in two parts, whatever, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen. Give me a moment. Let's see. Oh, we're done with week 4. So let me shrink that. There we go. Here's week 5. So here's the other half of the split from week 4 to week 5. So you have the last two training and assessment chapters in Access 3 and 4. And you have two more chapters to read, chapters 8 and 9 in the ebook. And then you have to take the hands-on access test covering chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the assessments, and then the last two chapters and quizzes. Okay. So again, when we go into the trainings and the assessments, we just have those two. Again, they're more complicated because again, as you will go from chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 through each of the apps, that when you get to 3 and 4, they get more complicated. But again, also there's a hands-on video and stuff that'll walk you through Access as well. Okay. And then what's in the, so okay, over here, let's see, in week 5, there you go. So there's the training and the assessment for chapter 3, training and the assessment for chapter 4. Okay. Oh, and there's going to be the hands-on access test that you take. It's not actually called access test. It's actually Access Chapter 3 mid-level, whatever. Okay, but that's the access test that you take here in my T-Lab, okay, this week as well. And then what are those last two chapters? Let me come back over here. That has to do with Chapter 8, which is a digital convergence. Okay, so you're going to learn about, how do we interact with our technology? Some of this was covered in like Chapter 2, but, hey, in Chapter 1. But we use e-readers and publishers, like you're using for this class, Pearson Plus, right, to read the technology in action book, whatever. Okay, we have audio programs and stuff, and then we have video programs, and there's editing softwares that kind of go with those things, and there's things that become more connected to what we are doing in our day-to-day lives. We should be aware of things like intellectual property rights, okay, and copyright laws, because they say, hey, just because I can get a music file from somebody, did I pay for it? Is it legal? Is it not legal? Yeah, got it. Talk about plagiarism, right? The act of trying to take credit for something that's not yours, kind of like a violation. Okay, got it. Okay. And then digital manipulation, hoaxes, trying to figure out whether or not, is this really somebody talking or is this somebody putting words in their mouth? And AI is playing a big role in making that harder to detect. Okay. And then chapter 9 is, hey, remember I told you we did the 4 chapters on internet and networking, and we touched a little bit on networking security. Yeah, now you come back to chapter 9 and you spend a lot more time on what is a computer virus and security and different types of viruses and spams and malware and stuff, and then try to figure out, it says, how do we make more powerful passwords, okay, biometrics using, fingerprint readers or a retinal scan with our eye or things like that, and how we can try to be a little bit safer, and how it's important to make sure we back up our data, okay, on our phones and our devices, whatever, and it's in a secure place, because it's not a matter of if things are going to get compromised. It's always usually a matter of when, and when that happens is the most important things that are important to you backed up someplace. Okay, so that's the overview. And the good news is, by the way, is once you finish the chapter 9 of this week, whatever, we're done with all 13 chapters of the book, right? From chapter 1 all the way to the end. Okay, and so this week, when you finish your access test and you finish your 2-chapter homework assessments, or whatever, okay, and those 2-chapter quizzes, then we get into week 6, which is a couple of PowerPoints. I have you watch a couple of videos on programming, and then you take the 150 question multiple choice test for the final. And again, that's based upon the technology in action ebook only. There is no hands-on final for this class. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop the share. Hopefully this helps you a bit. And again, we're getting really close to the end. Okay. So keep hanging in there. You're doing fine. So far, so good.